Hi, I am Tamika Cheatham, Executive Director at the Craftsmen Guild of Mississippi. I am so excited to introduce to you a new video series called the Crafty View, featuring our prestigious craftsmen. In this series, we will learn about their work, inspiration, and in some cases, watch them demonstrate. We hope you enjoy watching it as much as we enjoy presenting it to you. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much for your support. Have a crafty day. For our craft review, I have with me Diane Williams. Diane is a fellow member of the Craftsman Guild in Fiber. Diane, can you tell us a little bit about your craft?
I'd love to. I'm a mixed media fiber artist, and I've been doing this work for about 11 years now. And I work with found objects, I repurpose items, and I I'll put jewelry in my work, wood in my work, all kinds of elements into the work that I do. I'm not a generational crafter, but I did learn to sew, not from a relative, but over 50 years ago, my daddy took me down to the tailor shop, and the tailor is the one that taught me how to sew properly. And for many years, I was a perfectionist, but I later learned that quilts and items like that were art. And I was inspired by that. And I wanted to learn more. Gwen McGee was my role model. She's a very well-known quilter. There are books about her. And my focus is to be able to tell stories through my craft. Behind me, this is my gallery because we're in a pandemic. So I have my little gallery and you can see some of my art. You see the Hallelujah lady on one side. She's praising God. That's a signature style of mine. And then again, I like to couch my work so you'll be able to recognize the type of work I do when you see it in a gallery or in a show or something like that. Um, what I look for when I decide to create, first of all, I look for fabrics that speak to me. Actually, my work, all my work speaks to me. And I audition it, I lay it out, and I let it talk to me. Sometimes it takes days and weeks before the different elements tell me how I should use them and purpose them in the work. And sometimes I have to change my mind about things, but it all comes together in the end.
Good, good. Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, in adding to that, Diane, can you tell me what are you educated in the arts? Are you educated in the arts of your craft? Add to that, telling us more about that.
Well, I'll tell you, it's important whether you went to college to learn about your art form or however you came across your understanding of the art form. I think it's important to always continue your education in the arts. And I have studied under master artists from around the country. And I'm always wanting to know about new techniques and different things. And now you could go online, you could take training classes. The Mississippi Arts Commission offers grants so artists can learn more about their art form. And I don't think I'll ever stop learning. I'm not college educated in the way I create, but I do study. I study all the time. I'm training all the time. I have been mentored in a roundabout way. Most of the artisans I know that mentored me allowed me to watch them do their work, and they would ask my opinion rather than just tell me everything.
Good, 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 good. Also, too, impressions from the field. Tell us a little bit about how the fiber. Have you seen other trends out there to help you get excited about doing fiber?
I have seen a lot of trends out there. I love going on Facebook and joining various groups because that's where you can learn about trends from around the world. Also, like Pinterest. I mean, social media now is an education if you use it that way. And certain groups that I have joined, especially the mixed media fiber textile groups, have taught me so much about various techniques, embroidery techniques, and things like that. So I'm greatly impressed. I have some favorites. I won't name them right now, but I have some favorites that I watch and look at how they use certain elements.
Well, good, good. Also, Diane, I know you mentioned in the beginning of this interview here, you talked about that you actually do your work in your studio space. Do you invite people in that's before the pandemic? Tell us a little bit more about, we'd like to see a few of your designs and stuff. Do you work with young people, teens, and smaller children? Tell the public about that.
Okay. I recently retired in 2019 and I moved to a larger apartment so that I could have an art studio in my apartment. I'm hoping you'll be able to see my screen right now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
That's my
It's
art
right there.
studio. And I'm
Wow.
very, very, very organized. um, I'd love to show you more pictures of it, but on each side you'll find either canvas frames straight ahead in those cubbies or smaller elements of fabric based on size. To
Yeah.
the right, you have rolls of fabric. So, and in the closets, everything is very, very well organized. Then I have many tables. My goal when I retired was to teach classes in my home. I have a very large apartment, as I mentioned, and there's various places people that are participating can go, relax, enjoy the class, and I was really hoping before the pandemic to be able to bring more people into the home to teach, but I was also hoping to be able to teach online. And that's still a great goal of mine, but I'm watching how other people do that. I'm studying them, I'm networking with people that are doing it nationally because I want to do a good job. I want people that take online classes to really benefit from the experience. It's not about me trying to make a lot of money, but it's about the people being able to experience for themselves and come into being who they are as artists or just experiential opportunities for people. So that's yet to come. Stay tuned for that.
Great. This is
And
fascinating, Diane. Also, in the middle of this, I know you said that you're a fellow member of the Craftsman Skill of Mississippi. Share your, as an artist, share with us how you came about joining the guild and what it means, what it actually means to you to be a fellow member of the guild who have gone through all these I guess all the jury process to share with us a little bit about that.
okay, while I'm doing that, are you able to see any of the artwork now?
Oh man, yes.
Okay, I'll show some artwork while I'm talking. I guess it was around, actually for 25 years, I wanted to become a member of the Guild. I moved to Mississippi in 1986, I believe it was. And I always wanted to be a member of the Guild. And I'm not counting how many years it's been, but I think it was in 2009, 2010 is when I really got serious about becoming a member of the Craftsmen's Guild. And I talked, first of all, to other members. And I showed them some of my work. And say, for instance, you see that little moon over to the side? They would tell me, it's the way your work is stabilized on the form that you're using is very, very important. You can't glue it down. None of this is glued, you have to be very particular. Everything is stitched. I use a very small, tiny needle. And so after talking to the members, I went to one of the standards committee meetings. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where people talk to me about, or the members talk to me about how to become a member. what you all are looking for in the art form. And then I had to determine which art form it was I wanted to become a member and represent, because I do crochet, I do many art forms, and I said, I've got to decide on what it's going to be. And I couldn't say, I didn't want to say quilting because I'm really not a quilter. I do more quilt-like work, but as an art form. So I determined that I was mixed media fiber art, and you can see some of my designs here. Again, I use a very tiny needle. In this piece, you can see some of my crochet is included. You can see some of the leaves from the cotton fields that have been dyed. So I really bring in the experience that I'm experiencing here in the state of Mississippi. And I also work with other artists that I have artists make my frames for me.
Wow.
And I believe in supporting other artists, so that's very, very important. I participate in a lot of art shows, exhibitions, college campuses, galleries, and schools, places like that. Um, I exhibit at the Craftsmen's Guild in their gallery. I participate in Chimneyville at the end of the year, and you can see here's some of the artwork laid out in the show. And you have to see it in person.
Good. Yes, yes. I know art is always you have to feel, and your work is shows so much energy with dealing with the fiber and all. So Diane, tell me again too, for others out there who are beginners, who would love to start off by actually they're thinking about joining the guild. Tell to explain to them or share with them as a beginning artist who's actually stepping in the doors of the Craftsman's Guild, and now that you're a fellow member, actually receiving that status. Tell us, share with us about what that really means to you to be a
Okay,
fellow member.
I'll give you two perspectives. As a beginner starting out, you have to determine for yourself, are you just a hobbyist, a novice, or do you want to move on beyond being someone that just does this art form as a hobby? Are you interested in selling your work? Well, if you start looking at adjudicating into the Craftsman's Guild, which you'd have to adjudicate every 3 years until that fourth adjudication when you become a fellow. And so once you decide, okay, I want to be a professional artist, I'm going to apply to the guild, and you work towards achieving that fellow status. This gives you more opportunity out in the world. Now you could look at applying for grants to go to workshops and conferences. Now you could look at applying for fellowships to support the artwork that you do. There'll be many opportunities. I think Gwen McGee, who was one of our finest quilters really nationally, she had received a governor's award in excellence for her work. She grew to that status, but she was encouraged to take her time. She was encouraged to wait. She was encouraged to go through the process to grow. And when she did, she took off, and she even won, I think it was a $50,000 fellowship for her work. But you can't even get into those categories unless you've gone through adjudication. See, some people wonder, well, why would I want to go through adjudication? Well, you can't meet regional and national opportunities without having gone through a statewide or a local or statewide adjudication. So that's why it's important to me. Plus, becoming a fellow has been so important. And I want to live up to that because in being a fellow, I want to meet those standards all the time in my work. I want to keep rising, 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 doing a better job all the time.
Great, 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 great. Okay, I also noticed too, a lot of our artists teach at the John C. Campbell Folk Art School. And we'd like to see more of that taught right here at the Craftsman School of Mississippi. Share with us a little something about that, what the reason why you like to see that in Mississippi, or would you like to be able to share and actually teach others about how to do their craft here
I'm
at the
glad
Craftsman
you
School?
asked. I had an opportunity to teach at the John C. Campbell Folk Art School, and it was so incredible. They also let me experience other types of crafts, and you can be inspired. I was inspired by the wood turner, just looking at how they would turn a bowl or an ink pen, looking at how smooth it is, looking at the textures and things like that. So it's very inspirational to see a John C. Campbell Folk Art School where, you're not under pressure to learn. You can come in, you can experience. I would love to see that happen at the Mississippi Craftsmen's Guild. Those classes, I've taken various classes. I've come to sheep and shawl. I've looked at the weavers and the spinners. I've enjoyed it all because all of it inspires me. So, and I've taken Harold Miller's sculpting class, and I was able to create an incredible piece to mix with my fiber arts. So these things are important. And, we're in a pandemic right now, and you think, what else, what is left? What is left for us to do? People are concerned about being home, locked in their homes, and maybe this video will show later on, but the arts will always be around, and they're always something we could get involved in. They'll take us through our old elder years.
Wow, Diane, this is just interesting. I mean, just interesting. Also, too, I know you talked about all your work being original design, right? So what inspired you to just come up with a lot of your patterns that you do? Explain to individuals who are out there doing mixed media or would like to just take, your direction of becoming a member.
Well, I had to decide for myself, how do I define myself? How do I come into being who I am as an artist? So first of all, I learned the visual art elements. You have to have some kind of intro before you determine who you are. So I learned the visual art elements, then I learned the elements of design. And once I learned those things, I started creating for myself a vocabulary. And I didn't worry about knowing everything there was to know about art. I hope one day to be a master artist. But once I started adding things to my vocabulary, I was able to define myself. I am defined by the fact that I will couch all of my work, and my mostly everything I do is couched with raw silk hand dyed yarn. And not wool yarn, but raw silk. Or sometimes I go to the weavers and spinners that spin the wool, and I will get that hand weave. And that's important to my work, that is outlined. When I say couching, it's outlined that way. So that's just one area that I focus on. And then I'm going to look at, I work small, mostly small, and every now and then I create large designs. But it's important to me to be able to change the perspective. As a storyteller, I have stories in my head. So when I put them out on the canvas, you may see something like the woman in behind me there. You see she's coming off the canvas. That's because if I told a story about her, she would be the hallelujah lady. And in my mind, the story I have in my head is she's out there praising God and her hands are out and she's luminous. So that's why she's coming off the canvas. You see a halo behind her, you know she's singing. So I change perspective on the elements of the art, on the materials to create that storyline that is told by Diane Williams.
Man, this is awesome. So, Diane, to wrap it up, if it's someone out there that would like to get in touch with you, tell us how they share how they can reach out to you for your social media and other ways to, just to find out more about your work and all.
Okay, I do have a website. Um, it's www.dianewilliams.co, not .com, but it's .co. It's my full name, Diane Williams with one N. And so you could go to my website. You could also go to my social media pages. I have a Diane Williams page, but that's fun. I have mixed media fiber art page. I have a mentionable note card because I do fiber arts on note cards that bring smiles to the recipients' faces. And then I have book pages as well. So, and you can contact me at at my at dwteller@aol.com, because I am a storyteller. So DW, those are my initials, teller@aol.com. And again, you can find me on Facebook. And I'm not really into many of the other social medias. I am on Instagram and things like that, but I don't really use those.
Well, Diane, we just want to thank you so much for your time. Again, this is Diane Williams, who is a fellow member of the Craftsmen Guild of Mississippi. But thank you for your time.